All right, today we're gonna maiden flight this plane. It's a Turbinator, a bit older one, but it's a really nice jet. Okay, when it gets to the point where we're gonna do the maiden, one of the things that I always do is a little bit of a checklist. The first part of the checklist is going to be making sure that there's enough expo on all of the flight controls. That means when he's already set up the elevator, the rates, everything like that, and he set up so many of them, and we've set them up together so he knows exactly how to do it. So right now I'm going to take a look at the elevator and watch the amount of expo on these high rates. And it seems like I want to make sure I have very slight movement on the first part of it. It's really important that it doesn't look like it's jumping a little bit. And to me, it doesn't look like it's going to be too much. And we have the expo set, just kind of like my last video on how to set up a turbine jet. So we're going to check all the surfaces, make sure we have, slight control at the center of the stick, and that's really important to keep from over controlling the aircraft. Same thing on the ailerons, and of course we're checking the direction. Next, of course, is the flaps. I've got a lot of experience, so I like to eyeball them, and it seems like a good takeoff flap setting, possibly a little less. I think when we take off for the first time, I'm going to put a little less in it. Full flaps are pretty extreme, but that should be right where it needs to go. We're going to check how much down elevator is in it, and it seems like there's a fair amount. I'm not sure it's going to be enough. What do you think, Tom?
I'm not sure. It's got a couple, like 4 millimeters in there, but we can always put more.
Is that what the manual said?
I do not have the manual for this one.
All right, so he programmed in 4 millimeters of down elevator on full flaps. So we're going to hope that's enough. Right now I'm feeling a little uncomfortable. I think we might just want to dial in just a tad more.
Okay.
I prefer it nosing down a little bit than ballooning. Ballooning gets very difficult to compensate for. If you're ever going to maiden something, most of the time with the jets, I like to make sure there's a little extra down elevator on the flaps if the manual says it requires down elevator. I know there's a few that actually require the opposite because the flaps does something a little strange with it and makes it nose in a little bit. But in this case, if there's too much flaps when we're landing and it's making the plane balloon, if that's happening, you'll be required to literally push down elevator to get it to the ground, and that is not only uncomfortable, it's really dangerous because eventually you have to relax the controls, it'll pull the nose up and you'll bounce. To me it's the most difficult thing to do with a jet when you're landing it, if it's especially on that first flight, is if the flaps are pulling the nose up too much, it gets unmanageable. And I've had them completely unmanageable, so we had to take the flaps off, which of course landing a jet without flaps can be pretty dangerous. All right, at this point obviously we're starting it up. We've already checked the gyro directions and the CG, so we're pretty much ready to rock and roll. Okay, we put the plane very much on that side of the runway to give us as much runway as possible. That's really important. All the things we talk about all the time, long takeoff run. I'm gonna resist all temptation to lift it off to make sure that I've got enough airspeed. It's critically important. I reduced the initial flaps just a little bit. He has it on a slider, so I cut it back just so the takeoff is a little more controlled. We're also flying gyro off, and we're gonna experiment with the gyro while it's in the air. We're gonna click it on and off. Tom is going to operate the brakes and flaps for me. This is what we always do. It just keeps my hands a little more free to do what I need to do. So here we go. There's so much lag in this thing. All right.
You're up.
Flaps off.
Flaps are up.
All right. All right. The first thing that I really need to do is check the sensitivity of the controls the second I finish getting it trimmed for level flight. Need a couple clicks of down trim. There we go. Ailerons are a bit sensitive, so we're going to either add some expo or probably won't reduce the rate on high rates. All right, it seems to be flying hands off. We're going to check the CG before we ever activate the gyro. Wow, CG is really nice. It's like a breath nose heavy, which is not a problem with this plane at all. All right. Another click of elevator. All right, Tom, can you do me a favor? Let's switch to low rates so I can kind of get an idea of what they're like. I'm just flying around, just trying to get the feel of it. Low rates are a bit high, I think. Okay. Yeah, there's way too much elevator on that low rate. I'm getting a super tight turn with barely any. If you watch the controls, I'm getting a really tight turn, and I have only got it, barely barely a quarter of the stick. All right, well, we're flying low rates for a little bit. Let's see how it's going to behave. All right, it's time to check the gyro. So Tom, can you come around and click the gyro to low? Wait till I tell you. We're going to fly it straight and level, because it gets really freaky if something is wrong with the gyro. It's a Cortex in this one, so let's see. All right, yep.
It's low.
All right, that means all the surfaces are going in the right direction. All right, for right now, let's just leave it on low. We can fly it on low. Okay. All right, let's come down the runway and do a nice low pass. This thing is a lot faster than I assumed it was going to be. Yeah, I've been on a half throttle the whole time, but you can see that's the elevator that's so sensitive. See those quick up? We might just need a lot more expo on the low rates. We can lower the rate a little bit and up the expo. See, though, it's climbing and falling a lot more dramatically than it should. All right, now we're going to check the flaps. Tom, can you turn the gyro off? Because we want to turn the gyro off.
Gyro's off.
To check the flaps. Because the gyro will counteract the nose up or nose down, so we won't know the difference. All right, we're going to slow the jet down a little bit. Okay, my finger's in the way. Can you...
You want half flaps?
Right now, let's just go full, because I want to see if they work. Wait till I tell you. Ready? Now. Let them go.
Back up.
All right. Apparently we have a little too much down, okay. But that still wouldn't be much of a problem. So okay. Probably reduce it just a little bit and we should be okay. All right, let's get the gyro back on. Do you want to fly it for a second? Or you want to?
No, let's just set it up for landing and
right.
See how it goes.
All right, give me high rates. Gear.
High rates, gear's coming down.
It actually flies a little more docile on high rates, probably because of the amount of expo. I have something on my finger. Never mind. I got it. All right. 3 down?
3 down.
All right. Can we half flaps? All right. A nice long approach, especially first flight. Ready? Give me full flaps. Oops, need that a little sooner. Got it?
Yep, full flaps.
That's the sensitive elevator we don't like. Yeah, it's going to be an issue.
Okay, just keep it coming. You're good.
I didn't like the way it felt on landing at all.
Yeah, because it's diving.
Okay, the adjustments we're going to have to make is the flaps are a little too severe right now. They are, when the plane gets slow, it's ballooning quite a bit. That was a spectacularly uncomfortable landing. I hated every minute of it. I never thought for a second the plane was really under control. And you can almost see that it wanting to even go this way, which is never a good sign. So we're going to lessen the flaps a little bit. I was saying earlier that we want to reduce the amount of down elevator, but I take that back. We're going to keep the down elevator in, possibly even add a little bit to it. Okay, we took a bunch of weight out of the nose. This whole front panel there was filled with weight. I was having a really big problem on landing with it kind of porpoising. We accidentally landed on low rates, which kept me from being able to get enough elevator to pull the nose up. So it ended up hitting nose first, which is never good. We also took out a bunch of the down elevator with full flaps.
Think it's the gyro? It's the gyro. Yeah, it's looking a lot better now.
Well,
Just from looking.